Yeah, I hope you all have joined the session. Yeah. Hello. Welcome to AktivHealth's Facebook Live session series. Our team of expert physiotherapists and nutritionists have delivered informative sessions in the past few weeks regarding recovering from COVID difficulties, improving lung capacity, taking care of your mental and physical health, and improving immunity. Last week was an interesting session by our specialist Dr. Gaurav, who taught fun breathing exercises for children. If you've missed that, please do go to our page and watch it for sure. It will help your children have better, respiratory health and provide immunity and, keep them in good health overall. So today we continue our tips for the health of children and adolescents by talking about simple, healthy ways of improving immunity. I, Taranjeet Kaur, head nutritionist and the Metabolic Balance consultant at AktivHealth, Vasant Vihar, India. So we are all aware that since last year, the most searched word on Google has been immunity. And in India, we have done our shares of karas and popping multivitamins, as much as we could. But there are simpler and more effective ways to achieve good immunity. And we'll be talking about that today. Good immunity does not mean that, there are lesser chances of catching an infection, but it also means that in case you've got an infection or if it was somebody else in the family had it and you and your child got it, the child has or you have a better chance of recovery, and lesser impact of the disease. So lesser impact of COVID and a quicker chance of recovering back to your good health. So we all are listening to the news and media telling us about the third wave being severe for children. So it's the need of the hour that we talk about this issue and find ways and measures to bring this into our families and help our children get healthy and let them not go into situations like the second wave happened all across India. So what do we actually need to do? So yes, I'll be talking about nutrition, I'll be talking about little other measures that you can follow. So why we need to go into this and what all do we, why is this more important? So taking proper measure in this direction and giving children the right nutrition will not only help in strengthening the immune system, but also contribute to improve their cognitive development. That means their concentration, their ability to analyze, to memorize, which has all been diminishing across, in all these COVID times. It reduces the chances of children becoming obese, getting infected or develop serious diseases. Studies have shown that the lockdown implemented across the world due to COVID-19 pandemic have negatively impacted diet, sleep and physical activity among children, making them inactive, overweight and obese. The problem now is that kids gaining weight at home may be at higher risk of COVID-19 in the third wave. So we need to be extra cautious. It's not only, you worrying about immunity or, taking measures to, give that awful kava to your child every day. There are ways that, you can work around with them, make their life simpler and help them overcome this, build their immunity, let them not be in conditions where they are more prone to the disease, right? We all have been teaching our children about the normal norms of prevention, that is washing hands, wearing a mask, doing social distancing. All this has been there. And children also have had a difficult time. We all need to understand that. Going to school meant meeting your friends, having a good time, different activities, physical activity, indulging in various other extracurricular activities, and all that. Now everything has come down to online training, so their meeting and connections with their friends have lowered down. So let there be times that you can talk to your children, make way for them to speak out their emotions. Let not all this news and everything trouble their mind. So tell them that okay, this is a phase and this too shall pass and we shall be back in normal times soon. I mean, give them that confidence that yes, we all are trying to do our best, we are trying to take care of our health, and slowly, now that the vaccine is also there, and fortunately in the coming times it will be available for the teenagers and children as well. So we need to give our children, build their confidence about all these things. So now before I go forward and tell you about nutrition, today I would like to start with the things we should not do. What we should do, you've been hearing across the world and like on all media. So things that we should not do also play an important role, because these are the things that may lower down your child's immunity, right? So among first out of these is that they should not have juices, colas and flavored drinks, because these are loaded with sugars. Now you may be wondering that all good packs of juices would say no added sugar. That's fine, but there is enough natural sugar in that juice. And even if you claim to make juices at home, so I'll just give you an example. So you may take 4 oranges to make 1 glass of juice, right? Now this glass of juice will have some vitamins, and total sugar. The fiber has already been taken off, right? So you are loading your child with that 1 glass of extra sugar, very little vitamin and no fiber, whereas the chronic diseases today, in today's world, have their bases dealt with lack of fiber in our diet. So why are we now pushing our children into that arena? Make sure that instead of the juices, your child prefers a fruit. If you give him 2 oranges, he'll be satiated for quite some time, instead of making a juice out of 4 oranges where there's no fiber going in. Let him enjoy the fruit, let him enjoy the texture, the flavor, and let the fiber go in. Okay. And what about flavored sodas or diet cokes and stuff? Teenagers usually are found, because okay, even if they claim to be eating healthily or doing better stuff than the others, they say okay, we don't drink the normal cokes, but we have the diet coke. Now diet coke has artificial sweeteners, it has chemicals which will block the nutrient absorption site in the intestine. Now not only this does this bring a disbalance in the gut bacteria, but it also blocks the absorption site, which means even if the mother or the family is eating healthy food and taking care of their nourishment, still the body is unable to absorb proper nutrients from the diet, right? So even if you're trying to do good things, but having a glass of a can of diet coke added to the meal, you are already diminishing the ability of your body to extract nutrients out of the food. So it all goes for a waste. Not only this, when you take a diet coke, your tongue perceives it as sweet, right? I mean, your brain, in the moment you feel it on your tongue, your brain perceives it, it gets to know that something sweet has come in. The insulin production is still there, impacting a hormonal imbalance inside. So the hormone imbalance would then lead to more fat storage and make your child more hungry in a short period of time, right? Now, instead of all these, focus on drinking water. That's the most important thing. We as families have kind of slowed down on drinking water. So that's very, very essential. From adults to children, everybody needs to be careful with their bottles. And so what I do at home is that we all, my daughters and me, we all have our own separate bottles. We refill them, and making sure that by the evening, every one of us is declaring their counts. Oh my God, I've done my 2 liters, I've done my 2.5, and stuff like this. So it's very essential कि ये चीजें बच्चों को समझ में आए, right? So the water intake has to be important. Another, when I am talking today about children and teenagers, I mean children above 8 years of age, and the teenagers, they are at an age where they understand things. So if you let them know that if the color of their urine is dark yellow, or yellow on the yellowish side, it means they are not hydrated properly. It means their body is asking for more water. So it is very, very essential that they start drinking water. Give them fancy bottles, whatever the type they like, but at least let them, when they're studying or when their online classes are going on, instead of giving them stuff to munch on, the cookies or the namkeens and stuff, let water be there and let them focus well. Because if the snacks are high in sugar or salt, that would naturally impact their concentration also. So if we want that our children are concentrating and gaining out of the online sessions, let them have water nearby. And then of course their curriculum would have a lunchtime included in their routine, where they can come in for a healthy lunch. Number 2, avoid high sugar foods. So donuts, cream cookies, cakes all the time needs to be slowed down. Last year's lockdown came like a surprise to everyone, and at one place where we were hunting for immunity, hunting ways to make all the fancy kawas, on the other side the world was busy making jalebis, making gulab jamuns at home. High sugar products. Every day you got a new recipe. There was a big line of master chefs ready in the last lockdown. But I don't say that we should not be doing that, or sweets aren't important. It's, yes, children love sweets, but let's make way for that. A treat meal once or twice a week is good to go. Yes, let them enjoy their food, let them have sweets of their choice. But then that does not mean that day in and day out they take high sugar foods all the time. Sugar is one of the worst component which can impact immunity very badly. It has the ability to lower down the immune cells, kill the immune cells, and also bring hormonal disbalance in the body. So the girls getting PCOS issues, or the acne on the face for both boys and girls, all this can be very highly impacted because of the sugars in their diet. So next time, even if you wish to give your children something, and if they like a certain kind of cookies or something, just limit the consumption. So when my children were young, so what I did was that I would put one, or if there were 2 small, if there were small cookies, I would put 2 alongside their glass of milk. So everybody had always questioned me that I'm like a strict mom all the time, but then I encouraged them to finish their glass of milk and not be focused on the amount of cookies they want to eat. So even if they're doing a cereal, choose for healthy options. Choose for cereals which have good amount of fiber in them, good amount of nuts or fruits added, so that they get good nourishment, right? And in case, even talking about ice creams or so, why not freeze a fresh fruit and give them post meal? That could be a nice dessert to add on. And even if they ask for ice cream, instead of loading the entire cup with the ice cream, it's always good to add fruit and maybe a spoonful or 2 of ice cream, so that the consumption of ice cream is limited, but they get to eat good portion of their fruit. Besides this, the third point that I want to mention, which children should not have, is avoid processed food. So all the packaged, these McCains and the fries and the cutlets and stuff like that, avoid that to minimum, because it has high sodium content. the number of chips. I understand you talk about, you understand the salt intake from there, but it is also the amount of preservatives that have gone in, amount of saturated fats and trans fats that are therein. Though we all should focus on adding adequate fat to the children's diet. Adding ghee, I do recommend adding good omega-3 rich oil, alpha linoleic acid oil. So those fatty acids like in mustard oil or canola oil or cold pressed flaxseed oil for salads is good to add. So these are good healthy oils, but no need to load them up with trans fats, which may be harmful for their health and bring inflammation at such a young age. Because the moment omega-6 and omega-3 ratio is disbalanced, children or adults may get into the stages of chronic inflammation. So what snacks then you would say, if I don't make this, what else is the option? So people who are working from home, they're already in their state of juggling with the home and their office routine. So in those cases, you can do simple stuff. You can make healthy options like a bel puri. You could do a chana chaat where you could add cucumber, tomato, make some nice stuff like this, or make a sprout chaat. Or even if you want to give a healthy snack, you could soak some nuts, some almonds, some walnuts as the evening snack. Whatever you encourage your child to do, they will develop that as a habit. People usually talk about chronic diseases like diabetes or so as genetic. Now what is genetic? Genetic here, according to me, with food means habits which go on, habits which are carried in the family. So if the family is intended to have high sugar, high salt stuff, the children will automatically carry those habits on and on through ages. And then the disease is also contracted like this, become and labeled as genetic, right? So today if you step down to making good routines, helping your children understand healthy food, giving them their shares of treat meals, that's perfectly all right. Keep a balance in the normal day. Number 4, avoid junk food. So yes, we all know that all maida products and the refined flours are bad, but then we can also make this interesting. So till date, I have never used aloo tikki for making a burger for my daughters. Ever since they were young, I used leftover dal or vegetables, whatever there's in a fridge. I would just mash it up, add some besan to it, or a bread slice, and make cutlets out of it. Never did they realize that what was going in. You could do paneer cutlets, you could do Nutrella cutlets, you could make chicken patty inside the burger. Why on earth would you always give aloo patty? Too much refined carbs and potatoes may end up making them gain more weight. Instead, give them good proteins because they need that. The children are growing, their protein requirements are high, they're gaining their height, they are developing their bodies, and as they step into adolescence, they need all the more nourishment. And instead of that, if we just keep them filling with carbs and French fries and stuff, that's not a good option. You could help them make good dishes. You could get them a nice feta cheese salad or mozzarella salad with tomatoes. You could do all that stuff, right? That would not take much of the time. And encouraging your children to be a part of engaging in cooking would be a good idea, to help them feel the vegetables, chop them with you, and engage them in activities. Let not this lockdown become too much of a burden for them, right? If you make them stand with you in the kitchen, help them acquire more healthy habits, they would be happy to be a part of you, to help you out with things. Besides this, the most important thing that we should avoid at this time is too much screen time. Ever since the lockdown, as our children are stressed with social isolation, their recreation with gifts, their studies, everything has been online, increasing the screen time by 50%. Now we need to think of ways and measures to help our children reduce their screen time. Encourage physical activity routine settings, and we as parents should be working as role models for them. Yeah, so if we have our set routines, we have set meal timings, we will definitely be able to help them, right? So now, when we talk about these things, we understand what all we should avoid, right? But now, as we go forward, and you would want to know what things to be added, and how does Metabolic Balance program help in improving immunity in children? Now, I, being a Metabolic Balance consultant, would be doing injustice if I don't tell you about this. So before that, I'll just brief you what this program is all about. So Metabolic Balance is a German innovative nutrition program which is based on a person's blood analysis, medical history, and food preferences. The fascinating researches and hard work behind this program enables the parameters set in to tell us which foods are good for us, which proteins should we have, and in what amount should they be consumed to help us have better immunity and good health. Okay, not only this, which vegetables should be added so that the child is not deficient in it, what kinds of fruits are essential to be added in their diet so that they gain good health overall. So starting with some points that for sure stand as Metabolic Balance rules. Before that, I'll just tell you that food consumption pattern reveal that diet of children and adolescents are deficient in proteins and micronutrients. So all over India, even for adults, there has been a lot of deficiencies found in adequate protein consumption. So the first and foremost rule of Metabolic Balance stand as having a protein at each meal, and adequate protein. Now, what do we count as proteins? So proteins include milk, yogurt, cheese, eggs, chicken, fish, dals, sprouts, nuts and seeds, tofu, and so on. Even mushrooms like oyster mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms are part of protein, counted as protein because they are anti-inflammatory and help you gain good health. Besides this, so once you come to know, so even in your daily routine, if you make sure that each of the meal has at least one protein in good amount, makes your child less deficient about protein, allows him to gain good health, allows him to have better immunity. Number two, when you get to know about the vegetables or the fruits that should be included, you are more focused and helping your child add more citrus fruits and vegetables, yellow colored fruits and vegetables, green leafy vegetables, so that your child gets adequate of vitamin C, iron, zinc, and other micronutrients for which you must have been feeding them multivitamins or giving them drops or shots or whatever. Then make sure that your child has at least good amount of vegetables and 2 to 3 servings of fruit per day. And as I earlier mentioned, make sure they are drinking adequate water, 1.5 to 2 liters of water, and for adults, when it comes, it is 35 ml per kg body weight that one must have. So if it's a 60 kilo person, then about 2.1 liters is the minimum they should have for the body cleansing and hydration. Besides this, we also encourage children to do regular exercise. Some kind of breathing exercises for sure, to calm their mind, to help them have better concentration. So, things like pranayam or breathing exercises, which I mentioned earlier, were taught by our specialist, Dr. Gaurav, in the last session. You can help your children do those breathing exercises and some calming deep breathing exercise for good immunity. The moment they breathe in good oxygen, the better is their lung capacity, and they're able to digest food better, the nourishment thus gets better. And though we've talked about what not to do and the things that must be done. So make sure that you include different grains for your children. So it may not be just relying on pastas and pizzas made of maida or refined flours. It is good to get wheat pizza bases or wheat burgers, or include barley as a grain, little millet as a grain. You could add jowar, bajra, give them rotis of different kind. You could add makki ki roti with saag or some, even doing a makki ki roti with is interesting. Giving them rice sometimes help them enjoy different kinds of grains, but not overdo it. Let them have sufficient protein and then some amount of grains, cereals, and including vegetables at each meal, making each meal a complete meal, right? Besides this, I would still like to emphasize about a few more things. Number one, set routines with them. Let not Netflix keep you awake most night, because as I said before, you are the role models for your children, right? अगर आप ज़्यादा देर उठे रहेंगे या आप देर तक टीवी देख रहे हैं, you cannot say a no to your child. You cannot get them into healthy habits of sleeping on time. If you do it yourself, you automatically encourage a good routine, waking up on time, doing their morning exercise if possible. If their school starts early, they can do their exercise part or play games in the evening. So get them into developing good routines, set up meal timings. So the last year when I was busy work-wise, doing online session for my clients, people were worried, they were gaining weight, and they were fearing COVID, wanted to build immunity, but they were saying that we were watching Netflix, सुबह देर से उठते हैं, नाश्ता नहीं करते हैं, और फिर just having 2 meals a day and eating the 2 meals as if you could add anything. नाम intermittent fasting का देना चाहते हैं और कुछ भी खाना चाहते हैं. So never did they have their meals balanced. But at that time, God had been kind, and I was fortunate that I was working with my regular hours from home though, but I had all my online consultations already booked. At that time, I had kept the meal timings very strictly to 8:30, 1:30 and 8 o'clock for dinner. So, in between there was no cooking happening, nothing, at the most an evening cup of tea handed over to the family if they wanted. So, setting routine times enabled us to drink water, to focus on our work, get away from wasting time in, thinking and making samosas and jalebis and stuff like that. On a Sunday, yes, we did indulge in, doing such things and, having treat meals for ourselves. But uske alawa, agar when I talk about doing exercises in the family, so we do have our share of putting challenges for each other, skipping challenges. कि अगर हमको space constraints हैं, तो आप skipping करिए and you ask all family members who's able to do the best. Better counts. You could do on the spot jogging, walking while listening to your favorite music. You could do the school learned exercises. I am sure that even all mothers and children would really have been missing the physical activity, the PE meeting during their school periods which happened. So because now that they are stuck, I hope that if any school teachers are listening to this show, would definitely get some physical activity period started, though for 15 minutes or 10 minutes, to allow children to include some kind of physical activity, running on the spot, jogging, stuff like that. And a very important thing, let them have adequate sleep. As I mentioned before, stay connected with family and friends. It's very, very important that children are connected with their friends. Let them talk on phone with their friends. This has been a strange time for everyone. We as adults have seen people undergoing depression and stuff like that, finding it difficult to handle this isolation. So encourage your children to understand these situations. Tell them that everything will be fine. Be with them, listen out to them, and make some time to enjoy some part of the day with them. So I'll give you an example. In the evening, I sit with my daughters and my husband, and we figure out on YouTube, we watch one place to visit. So every day one person gets a choice of the country they wish to go to. So setting our wish list ready where we would like to go, and trying and exploring, countries of Europe or Mediterranean, or you could go for a virtual tour of a museum or see things like that. So let there be times where you sit with your children and enjoy these timings. Maybe these timings won't last, and we'll be so busy in our work and schedules after this. So I hope this session has helped you, giving you tips about nutrition and setting up good routines for your children. In case you have any questions, or if your child is facing any issues, medical issues like diabetes, or is overweight, or has low immunity, and you want their metabolic balance plan to be developed, you could please call us on 713-6677. And in case you are a nutritionist, a dietitian, or a medical doctor, you could certify as a metabolic balance consultant with us and be a part of the international team. And doing this, do the certification and be ready to help people get a roadmap for a healthy life. Right. So again, I repeat the number. You may call on 011-713-6677, or you can message us on Facebook, visit our website, and send us your details. We'll get back to you. Thank you so much. You may now post your questions. If you have anything on mind, please do let me know, and I'll see if I can help to that. Yeah. So hi Keshia. So to enroll yourself as a metabolic balance coach, what you have to do is you can send us a message, and we will send you a form. Once you fill in your details and are ready, you can talk to us and know what it is and how it goes about, and then we once you fill up the form and pay your fees, we will get your video lessons study login created. You can start studying, and once your lessons are done, you will be ready for the implementation workshop. This month's implementation training is on 24th and 25th of June. And in case you want to, come in for this, you can definitely reach us very soon, as soon as possible, because you need some time to go through the video lessons and be ready. And once your implementation training is done, from the very next day, you could have your own plan ready and then start helping clients and practice this at your own clinic or with the doctor, as you wish. And you may send us your email address. You can direct message us and we will send you the details. Yeah. Anything else, please? Okay. Thank you, Keshia. So, and even after, once this live session ends, in case you have queries and questions or are worried about your child's immunity, please do post your questions. We'll try and answer as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of the day, but sleep on time. Take care. Thank you.